After about 25, or actually almost 30 years, we have finally come to the point where we are making our own gloves. This means doing everything completely from scratch. So we have gone right back to the initial design stage, testing the cuts, selecting materials, the protectors, and indeed absolutely everything that goes into this product. The aim was to create a real racing glove in accordance with our ideas, which we will make ourselves, right here in our own production facility. Thanks to the fact that we've been supplying suits and other motorcycle clothing for many years, we have dealt with gloves in the past, but now we have our own new ones, which we are proud to put onto the hands of racers and customers. What we wanted to achieve was for the gloves to be sensitive when holding the handlebars or pulling the levers, and the wearer feel the response of the motorcycle, the feedback from the brakes, and so on. So this meant for them to be basically as soft as possible, but at the same time to protect in the event of a fall. On the racetrack, it's not a question of if the rider will fall or not, it is just a question of when. At that moment, the hand has to be protected as much as possible. More or less, the hand injury is very similar to that of the body. And that is something we have been protecting for many years, with all the work we have done in the design and production of our race suits. This means that one element to be aware of is the risk of abrasion as the hand comes into contact with the ground and slides. So, to keep the glove from being torn or worn through, the whole underside is made from kangaroo leather. This is specially processed hide, which we bring in from Italy, because the leather for gloves is not manufactured in the same way as for other garments. It has different specifics, requirements, and characteristics for this application, such as levels of elasticity and stretch, as well as needing to be much more resistant to the salt from sweat. It also has to be durable to meet all requirements throughout its lifespan, hence the use of kangaroo. Of course, when I'm hitting the ground, the glove also needs specific reinforcement, and so here we have these absorbers, which we call iMac. These are the only pieces of cowhide on the entire glove. Due to the nature of this cowhide, which is backed with viscoelastic material, it dampens the transmission of impact like a shock absorber and is coated with a polyurethane layer which is resistant to abrasion, with a low coefficient of adhesion when sliding on the asphalt. Plastic, for example, has even less adhesion, but really does not suit everyone when holding the bar grips, so it is not used. This part is also reinforced with Kevlar just in case. And I say that because the central material element here is the leather. Otherwise, the remainder is calfskin. The gloves are sewn together with Kevlar thread. Why Kevlar, you might ask? The reason is that standard threads, depending on application, are either a polyamide or, more usually, a polyester with a melting point somewhere between 150 and 170 degrees centigrade, depending on the selection. The trouble is that when the body is sliding, in this case with the glove along the ground, there is a considerable rapid buildup of excess heat. But Kevlar can withstand up to 400 degrees for extended periods, as well as short-term bursts of up to 900 degrees. In addition, they are more resistant to abrasion, and so in practice they protect for longer and are used here. The reinforcement here on the right hand is at the position of the brake lever, where I found that it rubs or presses the most when in use. This next material is not really that much use to the racers, but more a nod towards the everyday, as it is touchscreen conductive for controlling mobile phones, etc. Here we have the classic reinforcement cushioning area, right where we grip the handlebar, the part where we press the hardest. Basically, all gloves that you see anywhere will have some kind of reinforcement around the thumb, because this is also a point of high stress, and so is required to stop it bursting when the wearer is gripping the bar. This area is a bit of an Achilles heel in gloves, as it is where the seams meet. It is thus actually a good idea to cover it with something extra to really make sure it doesn't break. To the top, well, actually the back. The upper part of the glove is reinforced for protection, especially from impact with the ground during a high side, which means an increased risk of injury here to the joint, metacarpal bones, and the wrist. Therefore, in addition to the large plastic protector, there is another certified SAS Tech protector underneath it. This is a kind of so-called slow foam that will dampen the back and wrist areas. It's backed up again with visco foam to absorb shock from impact. Moving on, we can see strengthening of the fingers from the top and back sides. Here, we have the flexible leather that has some elasticated stretch for when pulling on the front brake, holding it as long as I like with little resistance from the glove. This means I can comfortably bend my fingers exactly as much as I want. Belt style adjustment at the bottom is more or less in the classic common style. Moving on to the inside, I will say again that safety is paramount. The lining in here is from polyester, but below that is once more Kevlar, which can most likely be seen here in the seam. Why do we use that? Most gloves may have woven or knitted Kevlar here, but we have opted to use fleeced fibers for a couple of reasons. First of all, the hand slips in and out of the glove easier, but mainly because it is a superior solution to help wick away moisture, as the looser compaction of the fibers does not hold the water so readily. This is even more effective due to the addition of some ventilation holes between the fingers that help generate airflow, which all combined allows for better drying than if it were knitted Kevlar in place, which simply would hold the water, as opposed to the fleece, in which the retention is limited. Looking at hemming, the edge here is lined with calfskin for comfort and durability. Currently, this is the top product available when it comes to gloves, the absolute best we could offer, especially in terms of safety, and all the while to still be comfortable.